Hey, it's Lacey Broussard, and this is the Multi-Orgasmic Mama podcast. From sex and motherhood, birth and relationships, communication and intimacy building, and Taoism and Tantra, we explore topics such as self-care, self-pleasure, body image, jade eggs, the feminine cycles, creativity in business, and modern spirituality. The Multi-Orgasmic Mama is a place to come for true stories and transformational advice on how to be a mama and a multi-orgasmic woman too. Welcome to the Multi-Orgasmic Mama podcast. It's Lacey Broussard here with another episode for you on how to talk to your partner about sex. I'm super excited to share with you this amazing practice that I'm going to be detailing for you in just a moment, because one of the biggest challenges that I hear from couples and women in particular is that they don't know how to talk to their partner about sex because it's super difficult. I mean, if you think about the way that we were all taught about sex as teenagers, we either got no information or too little information, or if we did get information at all, it was like from a biology teacher or a nun, and it was all about science and maybe a little bit of formula on how it's done, but definitely not about how to actually talk with your partner about your wants and desires around sex and how to talk about, any issues that might come up around your sex life as a couple. So learning to talk about sex is a skill that all of us need. All of us have room for improvement on this topic in particular. So why is it so hard to talk about sex with your partner? Well, fear of judgment is what keeps most couples from talking about sex and whether or not they enjoy it, or if they want more of it or less of it, or in a different way. And not getting your sexual needs met is a source of so much pain in relationships. One of the biggest reasons couples separate or get divorced is money or sex. So learning how to talk about money and sex are super important. And usually the way that a couple will talk about their money is the way that they will talk about sex, and vice versa, because they're so related and both part of the root chakra, which, there's a lot of conditioning around our root chakra issues around talking about money and sex. So one thing I want to mention to you is that what I'm talking to you about today, I'm only going to be talking to you about it because on January 22nd through the 26th, the whole week, I'm going to be dishing all sorts of amazing free content to you about how to talk with your partner about sex, how to ask for what you want. I'm going to be teaching you an erotic sex practice and giving you clarity and one more communication tool that you can use to experience the most exquisite sex ever. Exquisite connected sex is something everyone wants, and none of us really know how to get it. We're not taught too much about how to connect deeper during our sexual experiences. Most of us were taught about sex through visual things like pornography or images. And although that can be fun every now and then, it also conditions the brain to not connect on a somatic body level to our partners. So if we were raised with a lot of pornography or fantasy, a lot of women fantasize about certain things, which, they're all fine to have every now and then, but it's also amazing to be able to connect on a deep body level with your partner. So if exquisite connected sex is something that you are really wanting, especially for this Valentine's Day, I so encourage you to drop the cheesy dinner date and flowers and stuffed animals and chocolates, and let's connect. Let's have a real amazing, freaking epic, connected, exquisite sex for once, So I'm going to be teaching you my 5 best practices, and this is the first one. So if you want full access to that 5-day guided journey, you can go to bit.ly/connected sex. And you can sign up with your name and email to get full access to all of the play sheets, audios, and videos that I'll be sending out. And if you are late to the game and it's past January 22nd, you can still gain access to it, but it just won't be a live thing for you for a few months at least. So, okay, so now to the good stuff. So the practice that I'm going to be teaching you today is a communication tool called the reveal that you'll do before having sex. And then I'm going to teach you the recap, which is a communication tool after having sex. The reveal is something that you'll want to do about once a week until talking about sex becomes natural. So if it doesn't feel natural for you to talk about sex with your partner, then you're going to need to schedule in this conversation. If it feels super edgy, super terrifying, and you feel really nervous about having this conversation, all you need to do is ask your partner, say, hey, I'm really wondering if you would be willing to have a conversation with me about our relationship. And you can just leave it at relationship. And then, if you want, you can talk about your sex life. And if they agree, then you can schedule a time to actually do this practice with them. But you don't have to tell them that right up front. You can just get them to agree to have that conversation, because this practice is a conversation. It's just a structure of a conversation that will make it feel safe for you to talk about sex with each other. Because feeling safe to talk about sex is one of the biggest reasons that people don't, because they don't feel safe. So the recap is something you'll want to do each time after having sex, because it lets the other partner know what's really going on for you without expecting them to read your mind or assume things that may or may not be true. You don't want to leave assumptions about your sexual experiences. You really want to be clear and let your partner know how it was for you and what's been going on for you, especially if you want to set yourself up for a long-term relationship that is super successful. If you're not communicating about your sex life, then it's not being set up for long-term success, because that's one of the biggest reasons couples end up getting divorced at 15, 20, 25 years into their relationship, is because things got really stale. They stopped talking about sex. They didn't know how to talk about sex without getting triggered, all that kind of stuff. So the reveal process is a process that will help you to talk about sex in a way that feels safe and will set you up for long-term relationship success, so that things don't get old and stale and boring. Okay, there are a few steps to the process. The first step one, you're going to choose a topic that you're struggling with as a couple, or that you want to explore more deeply. So you can choose something that's challenging for you and that causes arguing, such as your relationship or sex life. Or you can even choose something that's amazing, or something that surrounds a decision that you want to make together, where more clarity and exploration is needed. But for the purpose of talking about your sex life, you're really going to want to stick to the topics of your relationship, your intimacy, your connection, and your sexuality. So the second step 2, is that you'll decide who will be partner A and who will be partner B. Then step 3 is that you're going to pick an amount of time that works for you. So my suggestion is about 7 minutes, because this time is long enough for you to really go deep into a topic and get a lot out. If it needs to be less, that's fine. Maybe you don't have a lot of time. Maybe you have young kids that interrupt you every 2 minutes, and maybe you can only get in 2 minutes without interruption. Or you can even go longer to 15 minutes. But to start out, 7 minutes, like a really ideal time. When this exercise is finished, you can integrate and discuss, but it's really important for this exercise to feel safe. So how do you make it feel safe? Well, that means that you don't attack your partner, and you won't start digging into them. You're not going to attack them or have a conversation about what they just said. So if you want to discuss what just happened or was revealed in the reveal process, do so as delicately and gently as possible, because the fastest way to get your partner to never do this with you again is by making it feel unsafe. You make it safe by understanding them and by continuing to love, respect, and hold them, even if things are said that are challenging to hear. So this process is all about holding space for each other and giving each other an opportunity to really share deeply, to share what's real and what's true without fearing that you're going to dig into them and start arguing with them about it. So you always want to own your reactions, your feelings, and your thoughts that arise as a response to what they say. So keep that in mind. Take responsibility for your reactions and thoughts. So step 4 is that partner A is going to ask partner B a question that you want to explore more deeply as a couple. So like I said before, some good examples for questions around talking about sex are, what do you have on our lovemaking? Or what comes up for you around sex? Or what do you feel about our intimacy and connection? Be super careful about how you structure this question though, because the answer and clarity that you're going to get is going to be based on the specific words that you use. So using the words, what do you feel about, or what do you think about, will produce 2 different answers. So if you want more of an open response, you'd want to go with a question like, what do you have on our sex life or our intimacy or our connection? So my partner and I actually did this process last night, and we did it on, what do you have on our sex life? And we did it for 7 minutes each, and it was extremely revealing and super amazing to have that safe container of being able to really hear what's going on for my partner around our sex life. And it reveals so much that you would never, ever, ever get from each other if you were just like, surface level, let's just do it this night, or let's just, leave me alone this night. I don't want to have sex with you. Like that leaves so much in question that your partner can't figure out what's going on for you if you don't actually talk about it. I highly recommend this exercise. It's super, super amazing to see what's really going on for your partner at this depth. So try it out. Okay. So for the partner who is responding, when your partner is asking you the questions, you want to scan inside of you and you want to describe any feelings or sensations or thoughts. Basically anything and everything that arises. So the less that you filter yourself, even if something feels weird or strange, the more that you just speak it, the deeper your clarity around this issue will go. And for the person who is asking, when you're asking the question, don't ever change the question. Don't ever change the question, and definitely don't interrupt. Don't answer or get into a conversation. You want to fully support your partner to respond in however way they need to respond and accept whatever comes up. If there's a pause or a break in their response, all you do is say, thank you, and ask the same question again. So if you were doing, what do you have on our lovemaking? And your partner pauses, you'd say, thank you. What do you have on our lovemaking? And then they start talking, and then they pause, and you say, thank you. What do you have on our lovemaking? And you just go like this for the 7 minutes. Okay, so step 5 is that once partner B has responded, you'll switch and partner B will ask partner A the exact same question. So all you're doing here is switching roles. What to do if you get triggered. So during this reveal process, a lot's going to be revealed, especially if this is the first time you've done this practice. So the partner that's holding space, you are to recognize, how can I love my partner? How can I allow them to feel safe? How can I let them know that they're accepted so that they can go in and excavate what's happening for them? It's not about you. This isn't about you. This is about their experience and them sharing their experience with you and you sharing your experience with them. If there needs to be a debriefing because something really, really big came up, then please tread gently and lightly on this topic. And of course, if you ever need support, please email me and I will get in touch with you as soon as possible. And you all know that your confidentiality is of utmost importance to me, so I am the only one to ever read your emails if you do email in at lacey@lacybroussard.com. Okay, so for the recap, this is the practice that you do after having sex each time. So this is super helpful because you really don't want to assume how sex was for your partner. That can get you into tricky, murky territory, and then you could start building habits that aren't helpful for your partner. And then 5 years later, you're like, well, I've been doing this all this time thinking that you liked it. And they're like, no, I actually hate it. So the recap will cut out all that crap. So for the recap, after you have sex, you're going to ask each other 4 questions. What did you experience? What did you feel? What did you love? And would you want anything differently? And that's it. So doing the reveal at least once a week will get the two of you used to and more comfortable talking with each other about sex in a way that feels safe. And doing the recap will give each of you an opportunity to share how you feel about your sexual experiences so you aren't left wondering. So please try it out and let me know how it goes for you by emailing in Lacey@LaceyBroussard.com. And if you want the step-by-step guide and along with an audio guided practice of this practice in particular, the reveal and the recap, all you have to do is go to bit.ly/connected sex. So that's bit.ly/connected sex. And I will set you up to receive all of those emails with all of those amazing practices and tools all for free. Okay, my lovelies, I hope you have a lovely day and I will see you next week.